say it louder. Who's gonna love you like me? Like me? Say it louder, say it louder. Who's gonna touch you like me? Like me?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be doing another makeup tutorial. This is our third eyeshadow look using our Sephora Pro palette. You don't have to use this palette specifically to create this look. You can of course mimic any of the eye colors or eyeshadows that I use and use those shadows if you have something similar to it and create this eye look. Just follow the technique that I'm explaining to you guys. You guys already know it'll be another talk through video. So I will get back to regular videos as soon as I'm done with this palette. I just like to do more talk through videos when I get a newer palette. So it's because it's easier to explain as opposed to listening to a voiceover and it goes so fast and you don't get to see everything. So nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoy and please subscribe before you go. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be doing our third look. Yeah, our third look using this Sephora Pro palette. I know this has been kind of sporadic during the week. There has been a lot of shit going on with my family, let me just tell you that. But for this look, I wanted to do an all matte smoky eye, but I also wanted to kind of do like an ombre smoky eye as well. Let me just tell you guys that doing an ombre smoky eye with matte shades is not as easy as doing it with shimmer shades. Shimmer shades is easier to like blend the two together as opposed to with mattes. I had a little bit more of a difficult time blending them together. So right now I just primed my lids and I like to use a thicker concealer when I prime my lids because it really cancels out everything. So I went ahead and used my LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade Fawn. That's my favorite concealer, like drugstore wise. That's like $1 or $2. Like it's like super duper affordable. So the first shade we are going to go in with is this shade here, and this is Terracotta, and it's that kind of orangish reddish brown shade. I love this shade. Like this is the perfect like transition shade for me. Like it's like that orangey kind of color, but not too deep, not too dark. It's just really beautiful. And these shades are super duper pigmented. So I'm using a Morphe brush. I don't know what brush it is. It's just kind of fluffy with a little bit of a point, so it's kind of a little tapered. So I'm not really sure exactly the name of this brush, but I really like this brush when I'm blending into the crease. So if I'm not using my the Pretty Bar brush or my Sigma E40 fluffy blending brush or my E35, I like to go in with this one. Although that's a lot of different options that I like for the crease, those two are definitely some of my favorites. So now we're going to take Burnt Umber right here. This is a little bit more of a brick kind of color. It's probably the most similar brick kind of color that I've seen. So with this shade, I'm going to take it on a more tapered brush. This is another Morphe brush. This one a lot more tapered. It comes to more of a point as opposed to the other one being a little bit more fluffy. So I'm going to take this and I packed it on one side of the brush. So that way I can just press out here into the outer corner because I really want this to blend out into this color. So I'm going to mainly focus this by packing this out into the outer corner, and then I'll just turn my brush to where that side of the brush is facing up towards the upper crease part. So I'm just going to flip that on its side and start blending that whatever's left on that brush into the crease, because this is going to be the only crease shade that we applied in the actual crease. So with this, I just go on and continue to pack on the shade until I get the desired effect, until I'm like, okay, that looks pretty good. So I just continue to pack that until I get to that point. So like always, I always go back in with the previous brush and just make sure that the two shades are blended a little bit better together, because you don't want there to be too much of a harsh line. And you can, once again, like I said, continue to go over this color until you feel like it's the exact color and depth that you want it to be. So now we're just going to take that LA Girl Pro Concealer again, and I usually just squeeze a little bit out of the tip of it And then I take the brush that I use to carve out my eyebrows, and which was an E15, a flat definer brush by Sigma. And I'm going to start kind of like doing a half cut crease. So the reason I always go back in with concealer or a cream base is because if you look at my eye, I have a tiny space right here where it's still a little bit tacky from where I did not, where no eyeshadow pretty much fell on the lid. So by going back over it with concealer, you're just cutting out that space, so it's more of like a blank canvas as opposed to going over other eyeshadow that has fallen down or anything like that. So I'm just taking this up onto the socket of my crease. And if you don't know where your crease is, you can just kind of put your brush on your eye and press it in, and that will show you exactly where it is. And I always kind of look down to make sure that none of it transfers up. That means I went up high enough because I have really foldy eyelids. And if I don't do that, it will transfer up into my crease, and that is just the tackiest thing ever, I find. So now that I have that back out there, I'm going to take more of burnt umber just out to kind of blend the edge a little bit. So that creates the beginning of that fade. And also layering on burnt umber is also going to deepen it so it turns a little bit darker on the outer corner if you continue to build on top of it. So the first shade that we're going to place on the lid is this one right here in the top corner of the eyeshadow palette. This is called Oat, and it's just a really, really, really vanilla-y kind of color. It's just a matte kind of bone eyeshadow color. I don't really like bone colors too much because they are really, really stark on my skin tone. But if you're a little bit more fair, it would look really, really pretty on you. I mean, I feel like it looks pretty on me, period, but I just don't like, I usually don't go for shades this light. I like a little bit more of like a mid-tone brown. That's my skilo right there. So I'm taking that on an e.l.f. eyeshadow brush, and I am just doing this in small patting motions and patting the shade on. When I'm working with matte shades, I like to pat as opposed to swipe. The only time I will swipe with mattes is when I'm trying to blend the two shades together. So the next shade that I went in with is this one down here in the corner, and this is called Sepia, and it is a little bit more of a orangish reddish brown shade. So very similar to terracotta, but just not as orange, a little bit more of like a muted shade. So I'm going to take that on a Sigma Wide Shader E59 brush. This brush is huge, but it's really great for when I'm packing on matte shades on the lid because it really deposits the color on the lid. So I am just patting, doing small patting-like motions, and making sure to blend that out into burnt umber and also into oat in the inner corner. I don't really focus too much on oat because I usually go back over oat. Go back over with oat anyways, or oat. Yeah, oat. I feel like that's so weird for me to say just oat. So take my burnt umber eyeshadow brush, no product on it, blend that out, and then I'm going to take a little bit more of oat and start to tap that into sepia. So with this step, I just go back and forth between the two brushes and kind of blend the two until I am satisfied. And this takes a bit of time and a bit of going back and forth because you want to make sure you have a nice gradient appearance and it not look too like too much of one color or not enough of another color. Like right now I feel like there's too much of sepia, so I'm going to go back in with more of oat and start to blend oat a little bit more onto the lid. Okay, so I always tightline my upper lash line. So I'm going to take my L'Oreal Silkasme eyeliner in black and tightline. And then I am going to take my matte liquid liner from NYX and do a wing liner. So for lashes, I'm going to take my Cocoa lashes in the style Queen Bee, apply those, do my face, throw on the wig, and then I will be back for lips. And for this lip option, I'm really curious to see how this turns out because it's a new product by L'Oreal from the drugstore. So I'm excited to see. I will be right back. Alright, you guys, so I already put my Silkasimi liner on the bottom lower lash line. So now I am going to go in and smoke it out. And usually I'll do this off camera, but for today I figured that I would just do it on camera. So I'm going to take Burnt Umber, which is that same shade that we applied to the outer corner. And I'm going to use a Morphe, sort of like a pencil brush, and use this to smoke out the lower lash line. And I'm also bringing that out to kind of create like a rounded look, even though I did wing liner. And just really blow this out. This pencil brush by Morphe that came out of this brush set is really, really great. And I will try to remember to link the brush set down below because I know I didn't do that for like the Jaclyn Hill video or anything like that, but I really, really, really love the brush set that I got from Morphe. I just hate that it did not come with numbers on it. So you guys might have these brushes already, but you just, you know, just don't know. So that's frustrating. So now that I have that laid down, I'm going to take Obsidian, which is the black in the corner of this palette. And I'm going to take another flat definer brush. This is a brush that I don't use for my eyebrows. This is one that I use for my eyeshadow. So I'm going to take this really tight on the lower lash line and just pretty much keep it really tight to the lower lashes, but also bringing that down a little bit and taking that from the inner corner to the outer corner. Now what this is going to do is pretty much just add a little bit more of a sultry, smoky, kind of like a dramatized eye. Now if you'd rather something be like this, then you can add the black, but if you'd rather something like this where you just add a little bit of definition to the lower lash line, just smoke it out, and to kind of create kind of like a balanced eye look, you can do that, just add mascara. But I feel like adding the black just makes it a little bit more sultry, smoky, sexy, a little bit more like va va boom, as opposed to just being like, just kind of like a little bit more natural looking. So you do what you want, do what you will, and I am just going to do this other eye. So always go back in with the previous brush, and I don't use any extra product on it. You can if you want to, but I don't feel like I need any. And just to mold the two together. So if you wanted to, you can add a little bit of shimmer in the inner corner. I think I'm going to skip that and keep this a little bit more of a matte eye, entirely matte. So for lips, I'm going to line my lips and I'm going to use my MAC lip liner. This is in the shade Cork. Pretty much just because the lipstick that I'm going to go in with is a little bit light. So I need something to kind of balance it out and give definition to my lips. So for the lipstick, this is one of the new L'Oreal Infallible liquid lipsticks, and this is in the shade Nudist. So it is just like a pretty pale, peachy kind of nude color. Not sure how these are going to work. This is actually my first time ever using this. So see. So it's not a bad liquid lipstick. It's a little bit more sticky than I usually like. I prefer them to be a little bit more completely matte, but it seems a little more sticky. Like, it's not bad. It's just sticky, but after that, that pretty much wraps up the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys followed along with any of the eyeshadows that you guys had, and then, you know, completed your look. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them down below. Also, let me know what else you guys would like to see, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah. Bye.